What's up, yo? Welcome back to Morning Car Talks with Dad and Coby. Right now, I'm introducing y'all because my dad's putting out the trash. We forgot because it's a Thursday morning. Anyways, I got my leftovers from last night. Big breakfast. Keeps your mind busy, keeps everything going, everything working. Yeah, I'm just enjoying this pasta right now. Slept well last night, which was good. I was meditating. I was my headphones on now because I had wireless headphones. No, not wireless. I had wired headphones before that were only one of them worked and the quality was crap. And I found these that I had the entire time, and everything is so much better. They're noise canceling. It's just better. So I can listen to my podcast. I can listen to my music, everything. Not my podcast, but I can listen to podcasts and everything. And I don't have to hear everybody else. You know. And recently it's kind of been getting a bit warmer, I think, in Luxembourg. Not really warm, but like less cold. Because there were a few days in like November and the start of December that were quite freezing and snowing and everything. And now it's just rain sometimes. But yeah. I feel like today is my best day so far of the week. I did my meditation before bed. I was just, relaxing, editing some videos, uploading some videos, recording some videos, writing a song. Oh yeah, last night I wrote this really cool song called Extraterrestrial Man. I don't know, it's a really cool concept, just like Spaceman. And it can be interpreted so many different ways as well. But I wrote that song while I was writing Glued. So I've been writing a song called Glued, and I was in the middle of writing that, and I was trying to finish a bridge, and then I got the idea for the song Extraterrestrial Man. And here he is, the big man.
Oh, good day, eh?
I was starting it out without you.
So, there's no I in denial.
I think you're in denial. But there's definitely an I in denial.
You just denied that there's no I in denial.
How's it going, Dad?
It's going all right, I took a little longer sleeping this morning. I was lazy today. I didn't go play hockey. I'm usually up at 5 on Thursday mornings to go play hockey in the morning, but back just hurt too much. Too tired. Take a day off.
It's okay.
I don't think there's hardly anybody going this morning anyway. One guy twisted his knee on Tuesday night. The guy has a game tonight, so a couple people are sick. A lot of people are sick lately.
I'm sick.
Are you sick? What are you sick of?
Can't say that.
Too much. Too much to tell.
Yeah, I don't know, just in my throat. Coughing up crap all the time.
A lot of that going around. Why do people get sick?
Yeah, they do.
Why do people get sick?
Immune system. Low.
That's right. Low immune system. Is it the virus that makes you sick? Is it the bacteria that makes you sick?
Yeah.
Sort of. Not really.
And what is it?
It's your low immune system. See, you've always got bacteria and viruses around. They're always
That's
there.
true. Don't you develop cancer like 2,000 times a day or something?
Yeah, something like that. 2,000 those cancer cells per day, but the immune system fights it off.
Yeah.
And so if you took a throat swab of any healthy person, so healthy meaning they don't have symptoms, not saying healthy as in they're actually vibrant of health, you're going to find at least 50 opportunistic organisms, like scary crap in there that, but they're always present. So it's really just your immune system that's the problem. And we do tend to get more illnesses in the winter because not enough sunlight, so people don't get enough vitamin D. Cold can weaken the immune system if it's consistently cold. Right? Like a cold plunge is awesome for your immune system. But actually, you're not supposed to go in a cold plunge if you are actively sick. But from a preventative point of view, it's really good. So then global warming, right? Everybody's freaking out about, if the world warms by 1.5 degrees. And I'm not saying there's not problems with that. Of course there is. But what people forget about is that the cold kills so many more people. All the people in the winter, elderlies with like high blood pressure and stuff like that, and then you're cold, you get more what's called vasoconstriction, so you've got a little bit more tension in the muscles, the body just trying to keep warm. And so then that creates an even bigger problem with blood circulation and with the heart. It's nuts.
Would you rather... It's a stupid question. Would you rather burn to death or freeze to death?
Freeze, for sure. Absolutely.
Of course.
Burning is just painful. Freezing, you go through that little shaky period.
Kind of go to sleep as well.
Yeah, and then you just get tired. So here's a story for you. I know I've told you this one before, but the whole point is maybe to tell you a few things, have them on video so you can remember them. So I was at a conference once in Calgary. It was a sports conference thing. I don't remember how I got invited to go to this because it was like a leadership thing. I don't know, it was weird. But anyways, one of the speakers, his name was Jamie. I don't remember his last name. I want to maybe say Jamie Smith, but I don't know. So he had gone to attempt. Oh, here's the beginning of the story. The beginning of the story is before I met this guy Jamie, who attempted to summit Mount Everest in '88. So this was back when like hardly anybody had done it. At least, I mean, nowadays, tons of people go up, tons of people die. It's crazy because there's like a backlog of people on the mountain. But anyways, this is during my sports injury course in kinesiology at Dalhousie in Halifax. And the professor, he was on this 8-man crew that was attempting to summit Everest in '88. And now nobody ever made it in that crew. So they were down to, I can't remember the whole story for sure, but they're down to like 2 guys, and then eventually they're down to only enough oxygen so that one guy could attempt to summit. And then so he goes up, and then he actually had run out of oxygen, and he sat down for a little while, like, so he's oxygen deprived and everything, and it's cold, and they're on the radio, like satellite radio, and he says, "I'm tired, guys. I just need to rest. I just need to sit down." And they're all like yelling at him, like encouraging him and everything. Don't sit down, because of course once you sit down and you're tired, that's what happens when you get hypothermia. You get tired, you just fall asleep. Like you fall asleep and you don't wake up, and that's freezing you to death, basically, right after you go through that original shaking period. Is you get tired and you go to sleep. So it totally takes sleeping over burning or freezing. So they're encouraging, and they just couldn't get the guy to stand up and keep going. So they use the satellite radio or satellite phone. I can't remember exactly. We're talking '88 here, right? And they get his wife and his kid on the phone. So they were in, I want to say they were in Banff. They were definitely in the Rockies as far as where they lived. And they finally got his wife and kid on the phone, and his daughter was like 3 or 4 years old, and it was this is the one line that always sticks out to me, is the daughter said, "Daddy, please come home." And he got his butt up, and he didn't try to summit at that point. He just came down, and then he survived.
Right.
So they didn't make it, but he made it home, so that's more important, right?
So I wouldn't climb Everest. I wouldn't do something like that. I'd definitely climb other mountains, but like not ones where there's a high chance. Well, not a high chance, but
yeah. Well, I think if you do it now, it's a lot different. They've got a lot more guides and everything that help you, and it's a lot more orchestrated.
Yeah, I guess.
But anyways, then I went to this talk in Calgary. This would have been in '96 or '97. This Jamie guy. He was an adventurer, and so he attempted to climb Everest. He's like walked across the Sahara and done all kinds of things. And I can't remember how that. I think he might have been on that team. I think he might have been on that team in '88.
Walked across the Sahara.
Yeah. That was his job. He just did crazy stuff. I mean, nowadays, if he was doing that, that'd be crazy, eh? With all like the YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and everything, making videos, you'd be taking it to the bank. And then I met him a few times then after that, because he came into our clinic when I was working at the Calgary Center for Health. He came in, he was getting adjusted there. I never saw him personally as a patient, but he was seeing some of the chiropractors there, because I was the kinesiologist at the time. But I think I did see his wife once or twice. But imagine that as a job, eh? Just an adventure. What do you do? It's like, I just do crazy shit. Yeah. It's awesome.
What's some of the craziest shit you've done?
Crazy. In what
Adventures.
I have not done too many crazy things, but the one I want to make the story that I wrote and I sent it into the Vinyl Cafe. I think I won't tell you that one now, because
There's a separate video on that.
One of my funnest trips that I did was when I first moved out to Calgary. Right, so I'd gone to Dalhousie for a couple of years. I was on the track team there. I was on the rowing team. But when I moved to Calgary, they had a football team at UC. And I hadn't played football since high school. And I thought, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try out for the football team. And it was kind of weird, because it was kind of a weird tryout. Like, theoretically, you had to try out in the spring. But in the spring, I didn't know I was going to be in Calgary the next winter. The next September. So I don't know how much of it did I talk my way into getting a tryout. I think the coach probably also called a few people, so it wasn't that I had a reputation as a football player. It's just that I had played football in high school. I was a receiver and some slot back, but he knew I was a track guy, so he knew I had wheels, and so I got a tryout with the UC football team. And he was on like the third day of the tryouts, or third day of training camp, or whatever it was. And I got a kind of a nasty hit in my knees. And so it blew out one of my knees. And so that was it. Football's now done for me. I thought I was going to make a comeback. I thought it was going to be awesome. But anyways, I was doing physio for a few days. And school didn't start for like at least another 2 weeks. So this was in August of '96. So I had a friend who was living in Banff, and she was from she was from Newfoundland. So a friend from school, from Dalhousie. And I don't even know how the heck I got in contact with her, because it's not like I had her number or anything, because she was just there on a summer job. But anyway, somehow I got in contact with her. What was her name? It was like Shauna, something like that. And so anyways, I went out to visit her, and I was intending to go out for a day, like maybe go out for one day, maybe 2, and then come back the next day. So I literally went with my backpack. I was wearing a pair of shorts, t-shirt, pair of sandals, like Tevas. I think I might have had a pair of pants in my bag and a sweater, right? Like that's it. Because I was going for one day and I was coming back. And so I went out, and I got out by hitchhiking, because of course I didn't have a car. So I was just hitchhiking, and it was just really surreal, right? Because this is my first time out in Western Canada, and I don't know, I can't even remember who picked me up. I think it was a transport truck picked me up. And it's just, as I'm getting closer and closer to the mountains, my smile is just getting bigger and bigger. And my face was in pain because I couldn't stop smiling. as the mountains are just like exploding up in the windshield. And yeah, so anyways, eventually I get to Banff. Somehow I find her. I think it's something like going around and just asking people, like, hey, do you know Shada? And I mean, that's how you do it, because I mean, I didn't have a mobile phone, which reminds me, that's my first mobile phone, which I only saw like 2 years before. And all right, that's a quick one, right? So we're sitting in the cafeteria in Dalhousie, first year university. Me and the boys are all sitting around the table eating food, and then all of a sudden the phone rings. He's like, what the phone's in the cafeteria? Like, what the hell? And some guy walks by, he's got this phone up to his face. He's like, hello? And all of us just look at him like, what idiot? Who brings a phone to the cafeteria? And it was like this weird moment of, who brings a phone? And he's got a phone. Like, it was such a weird thing. It was like, and nobody talked. Like, nobody talked to each other. We're all just like amazed, minds blown. You don't know what to think. He's got a phone in the cafeteria. It was so weird. But anyways, so of course I didn't have a phone.
Was it a mobile phone? Was it not?
Mobile phone. I mean, how else do you get a phone in the cafeteria?
Yeah.
It was so weird. But anyways, I eventually find Shauna somehow. And so we're just hanging out, and she's like, hey, do you want to go for a hike later? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I got a bum knee, but whatever. So we start going for this hike with her and a bunch of her friends. And, you know, we're going up the hill, and after a while, it's just like, this is a bit much for me, right? Because for my knee. And so I was like, all right, guys, you go on ahead. And we picked a meeting spot, and okay, I'll meet you here in a couple hours. And so I'm just sort of, you know, going for a little walk on my own here. And then, you know, these couple people pass me by, and they just, you know, everybody's nice. They say hello, and how's it going, eh? How you doing today? How you doing now? And so whatever, keep on going. And then it was a while later, I run into them again. I guess they're on their way down the hill, and then again they ask you, because my knee's wrapped up as well. And so they're like, oh, do you need any help? And I'm like, no, I'm just, you know, meeting some friends here a little bit later. And so I'd run into these people twice. Now and then.
How many were there?
There was just two of them. It was 2 people. And then whatever, that's it. Then later that night, we go out to the pub in Banff. And this was really weird. I remember this one because as soon as we walked in the door, the very first person I literally ran into was this girl from high school, Nadine Melrose. And like, I hadn't seen her since high school. And, you know, I guess we got along fine in high school, but we weren't, like, we had mutual friends. We weren't friends, we were acquaintances, like, you know, just, you know, but anyways, we knew each other. And I think we'd gone to school with each other since grade 7 or something like that. So public school and high school. And then all of a sudden, there we are in Banff. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, that's just sort of side story. But anyways, these 2 people that I ran into on the mountain a couple times, I saw one of them again in the pub. Because what else is there to do in Banff at night, right?
Yeah.
When you're, however old I was like at 19 or something like that. And so we started chatting, and we were chatting for a while. And her name was Roxanne. And we were like, do you want to go on a trip? Sure, why not? Because as you do, right? You just meet somebody and decide to go on a trip. So we decided, all right, tomorrow morning we're going to take off and go to Vancouver.
Did you guys even talk when you like ran into each other, or was it just
On the mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, on the mountain, not really. It was more like, hey, how's it going? How you doing today? They were just checking in on me. I don't know. I don't remember who she was with. She was just another friend. It's like I wouldn't remember anybody except I remember her because we went on a trip now. And she was from Quebec. And so anyways, we set out the next morning, hitchhiking, of course, because she didn't have a car either. And we got to Vancouver really easy. Like, it was like 2 rides. I think we were only even on the road hitchhiking for like a short period of time. It was just super easy. So we got out to Vancouver. We stayed there for about, I want to say for about 4 or 5 days with a couple friends of hers. And we were just doing stuff. We went climbing because one of the friends, it was a couple that we were staying with. They were both climbers. So we went climbing one day, like harness ropes and everything. And I remember going around Stanley Park, Gastown, just visiting all over Vancouver. It was really awesome. It was really cool. And then we decided to go out to Vancouver Island. So we went down to, what was the harbor that we went to? I want to say it was like Salmon Bay or something like that. We walked on the ferry and took that across to the island. It was an hour and a half ferry ride. And again, oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful. All the islands and the scenery, just the boat ride itself was amazing. It was like a tour ship. It was so beautiful. And so we end up in, I want to say we got to Nanaimo, but I don't even remember, actually, to be honest. I don't remember. And so we decided to, so where to now? I was like, well, of course we're going to Tofino. So Tofino's on the west side of the island. So we start going through there, and some guy, I remember this, some guy named Gary picked us up. And
did you know him, or was he just
oh, it's Canada, yeah. Everybody knows everybody, right? You're like, hey, Gary. Pardon me?
Did you know him, or were you hitchhiking?
No, we were hitchhiking. Yeah. No, the whole trip was hitchhiking. Yeah, Gary picked us up, and I remember one time we stopped and we got some food, and then for some reason we were eating on, we got takeaway, and we kept going on the road, and then the redwood trees, the trees were massive, like just the height of them, the circumference, remember circumference, one of the knights of the round table, was huge. But we pulled off into this stop area, and at one point, it was so weird, a truck pulled in and was in front of Gary's car, so we couldn't get out. And Roxanne and I were just sort of sitting on a log somewhere, eating food. And then Gary comes running through, and he's like, "Run! It's gonna explode!" I think somebody had left a bag right in front of his car, and then took off, and he was convinced it was a bomb. So like we're all jetting through the forest, running away, and then nothing ever exploded. Well, no, we just sort of, it was instinctual. We just sort of did as you're told, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? But then eventually nothing exploded, so we made our way back to the car, and then we drove off.
Was it like a funny situation? Were you guys laughing to each other?
Afterwards, we were laughing our heads off. Yeah. But then.
What the hell?
Oh, we had like a few rides on the island before, which was odd because it's not a long drive to get from one side to the other. But I remember the last ride was these two guys, John and Roy, and really nice guys, and they're
I don't know how you remember these names. I don't remember names of people.
Because there's a story to this one. Because there's a story to this one.
5 minutes ago and I forget your name.
I know, it's weird. There's some things I can't remember for the life of me, like yesterday, and then there's other things that stick out. So we thought, okay, we're gonna just sleep on the beach, right? Because it's Long Beach and it's a beautiful beach, and you're on the West Coast, and it's something about being on the coast that's just surreal. Like, I loved living in Halifax because you walk down to the harbor and you just feel like, man, I'm on the edge of the world. It was so weird. But anyways, these two guys that picked us, they're asking, well, where are you sleeping tonight? We were like sheepishly saying, well, the beach. But the problem was it was like pouring rain. And they lived on a boat in the Tofino harbor. You can't drive the boat anywhere, right? There's no engine on it. There's like it's tied up. So they rented the boat and they lived on this freaking boat. And they said, well, our landlord has another boat that the tenant just moved out of and nobody's there. So if you want, you can stay on this boat tonight. Now, I don't know if they couldn't have called the guy because I didn't have a mobile phone. It's like,
Mobile phone in the cafeteria.
and so anyways, we went, back to their boat. We hung out for a little while, and they were musicians, and they're playing music and stuff for us, and then we swam over to the boat, like holding like a bag of what had.
And Shauna.
No, Roxanne.
Oh, Roxanne.
Shauna was the friend from
Oh yeah, from high school.
from Newfoundland.
Oh shit.
No, and so Roxanne is the one that I met on the mountain, and then again in the pub, and then we decided to go on a trip. And so.
Wait, but what happened to the girl that you were with then?
Shauna? Well, she was working. She had a full-time job, so it was like, stayed and hung out with her for a little bit. So the next, so I kind of just, like, yeah, thanks, see you next time, kind of thing. Actually, having said that, I've never seen her again. Never had any communication actually again. I don't know what her last name is. I'd never know how to, whatever. She probably wouldn't even remember who I am anyway. But what was my point? So yeah, so we're sleeping on this boat, and again, it's just weird, because you're sleeping on this little boat, like it's a small boat, and then you wake up in the morning, and again, it's just, you look out, you get up, walk out of the little cabin thingy, and it's just this mist over the harbor, and then the mountains are coming out of the mist, and it's just like, holy smokes, this is just gorgeous, and I can't believe I'm here. Like, it was so cool. And back in that day, Nana worked at an insurance company that had a 1-800 number. So you could go to a 1-800 number, means it's a free number to call. Like, there's no charges to call. So I'd go to phone booths, like almost every day, and I'd hop on a phone booth and type in the 1-800 number for Nana's company, and it's like, can I speak to Margaret Oliver, please? and so they'd patch me through. But after a little while, the secretary, the operator lady, she knew who I was. It's like, oh, how you doing, Scott? How you doing? How's your travels today? Right? And so I was telling Nana about, like, calling her almost every day, just because everything was so cool every single day. It's like, this is what I've done. I just wanted to tell somebody what I was doing. And the only way I could tell anybody was to tell Nana, because she had a 1-800 number. And she probably, I don't know, she's probably shishing her pants every day because her son's like doing all this stupid stuff, like in the West Coast. But at the same time, she's probably, I never thought about it till later, but she's probably really thankful that I was calling her, so she knew I was also safe, I guess. But yeah, so we had our trip and everything, and then can't remember. I mean, if I remember details, I'll tell you those, but I don't remember any right now more than that. Other than on the way back, remember on the way there was so easy. Just getting a couple rides was easy. On the way back, nobody was picking us up. It was taking forever. I remember we made signs and put like little stupid things on the sign about like begging to get picked up, kind of thing. I remember at one point doing push-ups on the side of the road. It's like just on the side of the road, just doing push-ups. It's like, we'll work for a ride, kind of thing, and I'm doing push-ups, and people would honk as they go by and stuff, and it's like, we need a ride, right? It just took forever. It took forever, and yeah. But anyways, eventually we got back, and that was actually something too. Is I think when today's Thursday, so we're going straight. Okay, so I think we kind of worked it out, your mother and I, that she had moved out to Calgary around the same time, because she went on a trip with Granddad, and that guy just completely ran a red light, and I think we worked it out that they were going out to Banff on the same day that I was.
Really?
And I think they picked up a hitchhiker. They picked up some girl.
It was the girl that you went with. Shauna.
Because she was already in Banff living there. But but the funny part is they had picked up a hitchhiker, and I was hitchhiking on the same day, but they didn't pick me up, probably because I was a long-haired guy. But I mean, they wouldn't have even remembered if I was there. They didn't know. We didn't know who each other were at the same time.
Long-haired guy.
So yeah, so that was kind of funny. But so that's the thing. So years later, I used to listen. Do you remember Stuart McLean and Vinyl Cafe?
Of course.
I used to love listening to that show every week. And so
where would you listen to it? Like on the radio? Or?
just it was on podcasts. They would come out every week. The podcast on the Apple Podcast kind of thing. I think that's where I listened to it.
I thought you meant, yeah.
And so we were living in Luxembourg. You guys were young, of course, and whenever he did his shows, he would go and he'd have a local artist come on, musician. And one day he's doing a show in Victoria, and he says, and today's musical guest is John and Roy.
Oh really? No way.
And so I'm like, it's sort of, you know, at this point it's like, sounds familiar, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
But then they start playing their songs. It's like, that's John and Roy for sure.
That's crazy.
Because the style of music was just completely reminded me of that night. And
on the boat.
yeah, so then I went on to Apple Music and I downloaded a couple of their albums, and
that's crazy.
that was pretty cool, actually. Yeah,
I exactly remembered that as well years and years later.
Well, I wouldn't have, except for that, you know, sometimes something just sort of rings a bell. Kind of like a smell, just brings you back to something, reminds you of something, right? And it's, that was cool. That was cool. Which then reminds me, I don't know why now I remember this, but probably because of memories. But for the first time I ever saw the Tragically Hip in concert was at Massey Hall in Toronto. There was like...
Is it still called Massey Hall, or is it like bought out by something else?
No, it's still Massey Hall. I don't know if it's still being used. I mean, it's probably had to go under renovations. And so whether or not it's still open, I don't know.
I know there's a lot of like the Staples Center is now, what do you call it? It's Crypto Arena or something like that. Like
now they've got the Rogers Center in Toronto. To me, it's the Sky Dome.
Is that what it used to be called?
Yeah, that was the original thing. And yeah, but there's
so much history in that naming alone, you know.
Yeah, because Sky Dome, right? Because it was at a retractable roof.
Is it?
Yeah. Remember we watched it when we were in Toronto in the summer.
Didn't watch it.
Didn't we watch it retract?
No.
Oh, I think I just pointed it out to you because it was open, and I said, "Look at that, and see how it can retract." And yeah, but the Hip in Massey Hall, and that was like I knew the Hip and I liked them, but then seeing them in concert, oh my goodness, because Downey just goes off on tangents and talking and stuff, and even within a song, and it was just, I was sitting there in awe the entire time. It was so good. And I remember on the drive down there, we were all singing American Pie. I can't remember how it came up, but what's it about?
American Pie.
American Pie. I don't think anybody knows, actually.
I don't really know.
If anybody's watching this, and if you have a clue as to what it's about, you let us know.
Good old boy drinking whiskey and rye, singing this will be the day that I die.
I mean, there's lots of little things, like, you know, you get a liner here or there.
Saying bye-bye to Miss American Pie.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Look at that little car.
Is that a lady?
I don't know.
Miss American Pie. This will be the day that I die.
I don't know that Miss American, it has anything to do with a person. I think it's more the idea. But I think there's lots of like little lines in there which are more reminiscent, which have memories in them. And I think it's sort of a conglomeration. What's that word? Of putting a whole bunch of putting things together that in itself are all just an idea, but all the little ideas that make a larger whole about life. I don't know. I don't really know what it's about. But we gotta end it right there because it's school time. It's work time.
So, thanks for the ride.
Love you.
You too.
Make it a great day.
You too.
See you later, all.